Good morning, everyone. So, like you already know, maybe for those who do not know, my name is Marco Kuchuba, and I'm the technical pharmacist. My goal is to teach us some more on public health so that we can live a healthy life. So, last week we spoke about health. We tried to redefine what health meant, and we saw that when we say we are healthy, it does not mean that we just don't we are it goes beyond, rather it goes beyond just not having a symptom or a noticeable symptom in your body. It goes further than that. So when we say we are healthy, we check across different aspects of life. We check our physical health first, how we feel, and being sure there are no injuries, no ailments. So in that case, we can say we are physically healthy. Then we also check around environmental health, how we are coping with reference to our environment. Then we also check around our social health. Social health means how we relate with our fellow human beings. Then our mental health, the quality of thoughts that we're able to produce. And we spoke about spiritual health. So spiritual health just talks about how we are able to interface with the divine. So essentially, those are the major aspects of health that we have to check ourselves with to be able to ascertain or to be able to say truly that we are healthy in a holistic way. So this is all part of a series, or rather, I'm going to put this into a playlist on YouTube. Yeah, so it's going to just form a series where we try and expose health. So today, I'm going to talk about spiritual health. So uh, spiritual health entails, like I said earlier, it entails how we interface with the divine, how we interface with God, whether we are a Christian or a Muslim, um, whether a traditionalist or Buddhist or whatever religion we desire to put ourselves into, we all attribute to the knowledge of the presence of a divine being. So we should have a relationship with that divine being. So how we get to relate with it is what we talk about in spiritual health. So we are going to just look at what does it really mean, what's the importance, especially with regards to our health, and how do we improve it. So spiritual health, spiritual health points to uh, just the our sense of connection to the purpose and inner peace. So essentially, much more than maybe even just our connection to God. It talks about we are how we're able to connect with ourselves inside inwardly, how we're able to connect with the purpose of which we were created, and how we derive peace from our own existence. So um, then the next thing is why exactly is it relevant? It's important because it helps to keep both our mental and physical health in check. So we are mentally stable in that we it helps us with regulating stress. We are less stressed. Uh, we have a sense of purpose. We have a sense of a calling. So I said about spiritual health. So at the end of the day, it would also help us find fulfillment in life and build stronger and more compassionate relationships, even with people that we live, and then we'll feel motivated in our day-to-day life. So, when you say you have a healthy spiritual life, what are the indices that you should check across? So, we should have some of these indices will include that you have a clear sense of purpose in life, that you have inner peace, even when you are going through hard times, and then you have a sense of gratitude and appreciation for life. And at the end of the day, that will drive you to have compassion with yourself and with others. So you would not always be your own enemy. So you could feel connected to something greater. So that you feel connected to God. So essentially those are the signs of a healthy spiritual life. So when your spiritual life is poor, you begin to feel a sense of emptiness. You feel constant restlessness. There's life just doesn't really have so much of meaning, and almost become emotionally numb and feel overwhelmed. So what causes some of these spiritual imbalances? You see things like chronic stress and burnout from work and all of that. Trauma, experiences that you've had that you've not been able to resolve, maybe because of how painful they were. Um, when you over focus on material things and, people's applause, so most times a lot of us just even want to even acquire a lot just so that people can really just praise us that we actually have all of that. So that mindset on its own will result in serious spiritual imbalance. So we should to also improve, or some of the reasons why we also have spiritual imbalances is because we don't even have time for ourselves to take to reflect on things, and then there's just a basic disconnect from our personal values. So now, how do we improve our spiritual health? So number one, we should practice meditation. Thinking, if you're a Christian, at least you should meditate around the things you find in Scripture. We should learn to have a sense of gratitude to God. That's the best way we can be able to approach God and to life itself. We were able to appreciate life better when we have a sense of gratitude for it. When we are able to also connect with nature and everything within life, it helps to bring peace and a sense of belonging. Then, when we also live according to our values, we first respect our values, and then we can then expect others to respect it. And then we also, when we serve others, in serving others, we are actually serving God, just like what I'm doing. Um, while I'm trying to serve you, when I put in my best into it and make it look excellent, I serve God in the same way because I'm helping God's people to be excellent, or at least people that God created to have better health. So then, another good thing we could also do is learn to journal and self-reflect. That way, we are able to improve our lives and improve our spiritual lives. So essentially, that's it about spiritual health. There are some myths that or some false conceptions that people have about spiritual health. One of them includes that it's only for religious people. No, it's not. Uh, Whether you're a religious person or you choose not to even identify with any religious person or with any religious group, you should still have a positive spiritual health. Um, so you are not always struggling when you should not always struggle with your spiritual health. So you should find a blend for it with your other forms of health. So and spiritual practices should not even replace medical or mental health care. The concept of just praying the sickness away would work, but might not work all the time, especially if you've not built a track record around being able to heal yourself or heal other people. So it's best to uh, take both sides seriously. While you are praying for the person, you should be taking the person to the hospital if the person is sick. So you must, and then lastly, um, your spiritual health doesn't solve all the problems you have, but it could solve all the most important ones. So that's it, really. So that's it about spiritual health. So when we come next time, we will look at mental health. We'll discuss about our mental health.